You informed the police, I suppose?
Well, sir, I thought it would hardly interest them. The bones may well have been 500 years old. They could have just fallen out of one of the ancient coffins. But I'm sure Mr. Palfreyman would never have just stowed them away in a corner like that.
And who is Mr. Palfreyman?
He's one of the vergers at the church, sir. The chapel is his particular responsibility.
I see. Now, you say Sir Robert was away yesterday.
Well,
has he returned?
We expect him back today.
And when was it he gave away his sister's dog?
It was just a week ago today. The creature was howling outside the old well house, and Sir Robert was in one of his tantrums that morning. He caught it up, and I thought he would have killed it. But he gave it to Sandy Bain, the jockey, and told him to take the dog to old Barnes at the Green Dragon, for he never wished to see it again.
Yes, it's all very intriguing. I'm not clear yet what you want me to do in this matter, Mr. Mason. Can't you make it more, more definite?
Perhaps this will make it more definite, Mr. Holmes.
Yes, perhaps it will. Good Lord. A charred fragment of bone. Where did you get it?
There is a central heating furnace in a cellar underneath Lady Beatrice's room. It's been off for some time, but Sir Robert complained of the cold and had it on again. Harvey, he's one of the stable lads, has charge of it. He found the bone when he was raking the cinders this morning. He didn't like the look of it.
No, nor do I. What do you make of it, Watson? It's the upper condyle of a human femur. Exactly what I thought. Yeah. When does the lad tend to the furnace?
He makes it up every morning, leaves it.
And anyone could go there during the night.
Well, that's correct.
Can you enter it from outside?
There's one door from the outside. There's another which leads up by a stair to the passage by Lady Beatrice's room.
Yes, these are deep waters, Mr. Mason, deep and rather murky. Now, you say that Sir Robert was not at home last night?
No, sir.
No, then whoever was burning bones, it was not he.
That would seem to be the case.
I think we might take a look into this, Watson. Yes, we might perhaps make the Green Dragon our headquarters.
And keep an eye on her ladyship's spaniel.
Is there good fishing in that part of Berkshire?
Well, sir, I've heard there are trout in the mill stream. There's pike in the whole lake.
Oh, well, that's good enough. Well, Watson and I are famous fishermen, are we not, Watson?
Complete anglers, Holmes.
It might be best if we don't see each other, Mr. Mason. But a note will reach us, and no doubt I could find you if I need to. You should address us in future at the Green Dragon. We should reach there tonight.
Get down, Jason. I'm sorry, gentlemen. I don't know what's come over him.
You got our telegram, I take it.
Oh, yes, sir. I'll put you in the 2 rooms at the back, overlooking the garden. Get down. What's the matter with you? I'll get the boy to take your bags up and your fishing tackle. There's no mistaking what you've come here for, sir.
A famous place for trout, I believe. That's what we've heard.
Well, not exactly here, sir. You'll best try the Verret.
The Verret?
It's about 3 miles out on the north side of the village, sir. You'll be bound to find trout there.
What about the Hall Lake and the chance of a pike?
Oh, that would never do, sir. You might happen to find yourself in the lake before you were through.
How is that, Mr. Barnes?
Well, it's Sir Robert, sir. He's terribly jealous of touts.
Do we look like touts?
Goodness, no, gentlemen. But Sir Robert is mighty suspicious of any stranger who comes within these parts. The Hall Lake's not a quarter of a mile from his training quarters. If he sees you there, he'll be after you, sure as fate. Ain't taking no chances, Sir Robert ain't.
Who is this, Sir Robert?
Sir Robert Norberton. He has a horse entered for the Derby.
And he fancies his chances, I take it.
Oh, yes, sir. We've all of us put our money on the horse, and Sir Robert's backed him with everything he possesses. I suppose you ain't by any chance on the turf yourself, sir?
Good Lord, no. Just 2 weary Londoners with the need to put some good Berkshire air into their foggy lungs.
Well, you're in the right place for that. There's a deal of it lying about. But mind what I've told you about Sir Robert. He's the sort that strikes first and speaks afterwards.
You think we're likely to come across him?
Well, not for a day or so, sir. He's gone up to London. But I don't want no trouble if you two go straying about the park and he finds out that you've been putting up here. Just to keep clear of the park, if you please, gentlemen.
You need not concern yourself about that, Mr. Barnes. We certainly shall.
By the way, that was the most beautiful spaniel that made such a fuss when we arrived. Was it bred locally?
What you say it was. It was Sir Robert himself who gave it to me. That's why I have to keep it on a lead. It would be off back to the Hall in a jiffy if I gave it its head.
Would it indeed?
Well, if you'll forgive me, gentlemen, I mustn't stay here gossiping. Just let me know if there's anything you want. As I say, the Verret up by Alt's End is the place to take a trout or two.
We'll give it a try, Mr. Barnes. Thanks for your advice.
Well, if there's anything you require, gentlemen, just ring the bell.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. We're getting some cards in our hand, Watson. It's not an easy one to play, but we may see our way in a day or two. And since Sir Robert's still in London, we might perhaps enter the sacred domain without fear of bodily assault. There are one or two points on which I'd like reassurance.
You have a theory, Holmes?
No, it's too soon for anything so substantial. But of this, I am sure. Something happened a week ago which has cut deep into the heart of the Shoscombe household.
And what do you suppose that could be?
Oh, we can only guess at it from its effects. And they seem to be of a curiously mixed character, but that should help us. And it's only the colourless, uneventful case which is hopeless.
I don't quite follow you. What effects do you mean?
Consider the data, Watson. Sir Robert no longer visits his invalid sister. He gives away her favourite dog to the innkeeper. Her dog, Watson. Does that suggest nothing to you?
Nothing but a brother's spite.
Well, it might be so. Or, well, there is an alternative.
What alternative?
Let's continue our review of the situation from the time that the quarrel began.
We don't know that there was a quarrel.
Well, for the sake of argument, let's suppose that there was. The lady keeps to her room, alters her habits, is not seen save when she drives out in her carriage, refuses to stop at the stables to greet her favourite horse, and apparently takes to drink. Yes, that covers the case, does it not?
Save for the business in the crypt.
Well, that's another line of thought. There are two, and I beg you do not entangle them. No. Now, line A, which concerns Lady Beatrice, has a vaguely sinister flavour, has it not?
I can make nothing of it.
Can you not? Well, then, let us take up line B, which concerns Sir Robert. Now, he's determined to win the Derby. He's in the hands of the moneylenders and may at any moment be sold up and his racing stable seized by his creditors. He's a daring and desperate man. He derives all his income from his sister. His sister's maid is his willing tool. Huh? So far we seem to be on fairly secure ground, do we not?
But the crypt?
Ah, yes, the crypt. Let us suppose it's merely a scandalous supposition, a hypothesis put forward for argument's sake, that Sir Robert has done away with his sister.
But, my dear Holmes, that is out of the question.
Very possibly, Watson.
Sir Robert is a man of honourable stock.
But you do occasionally find a carrion crow among the eagles. Let's for a moment argue upon this supposition. He couldn't fly the country until he'd realised his fortune, and that fortune could only be realised by winning the Derby with Shoscombe Prince. Therefore, he still has to stand his ground.
But how does he do that?
Well, to begin with, he'd have to dispose of the body of his victim, and he'd also have to find a substitute who would impersonate her. And with the maid as his confidant, that would not be impossible. His sister's body might be conveyed to the crypt, which is a place of evil reputation and seldom visited, and it might be secretly destroyed at night in the furnace, leaving behind it such evidence as we've already seen. What do you say to that, Watson?
Well, it is all possible, I suppose, if you grant the original monstrous supposition.
I think that there's a small experiment we may try tomorrow. Might throw some light on the matter. First of all, we need some good reason why we cannot go fishing, something that we've forgotten that could rule out the whole day.
We could have forgotten our spoon bait, perhaps.
A spoon bait, capital. And I think that I'll propose to Mr. Josiah Barnes that we take his highly bred black spaniel for a walk in the direction of Shoscombe Old Park. I can't say I care very much for the heraldic griffins on the gate.
Too ostentatious by half.
If we may trust the boot boy at the inn, it's by this gate that Lady Beatrice takes her midday drive in her open barouche.
It's nearly 12 now.
The carriage will have to slow down while the gates are opened. When it comes through and before it gathers speed again, I want you, Watson, to stop the coachman with some question or other.
I think that might be arranged. That must be them now. What will you be doing?
Never mind about me. I'll stand behind this holly bush with the dog and see what I can see.
Very well.
Here they are. Lady Beatrice, smothered in shawls, the veil over her face, and a girl who looks no better than she should be by her side, the maid, I presume. The man's coming out to open the gates. Off you go, Watson.
Good day, your ladyship. I say, coachman. I say. Can you tell me if Sir Robert is at Shoscombe Old Place?
Gently now, boy, gently. Now then, go. Go, your mistress.
Get the horse away! Get it away! Get it off me! Drive on, man! Drive on! Come here, boy! Come here, come here!
There. Good boy. You thought it was your mistress, didn't you? Turned out to be a stranger, didn't it?
Well then, are you satisfied?
Dogs don't make mistakes.
But it was a man's voice.
Exactly, Watson. We've added one card to our hand, but it needs careful playing all the same.
So, how should we proceed?
Now, first, we shall take this highly perceptive creature back to the Green Dragon, and then we shall miraculously discover that we brought our bait after all.
But why should we want to do that?
Because I've arranged to meet our good friend Mr. Mason by the mill stream.
No. If you throw your line like that, you'll put the fear of God into every fish for half a mile.
Do I have to remind you that we're not here to fish?
Since we are here, we may as well try to keep up a decent appearance. Cast your line lightly, Holmes, lightly.
Oh, very well.
Lightly, I said.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Mr. Mason.
I got your note, Mr. Holmes. I came as quickly as I could.
Mr. Robert returned?
Not yet, but I've received word that he's expected tonight.
Yeah, and there's no time to be lost. Let's get into the crypt without delay. Yeah, will you take us there?
I can't afford to do that, Mr. Holmes. At the moment he returns home, he'll want to see me to get the latest news about Shoscombe Prince.
It'll take too long for us to root about the place on our own. Is there someone who knows the crypt well?
Well, there's Mr. Palfreyman, the verger.
But can he be trusted not to tell Sir Robert?
If you care to make it worth his while, Doctor, his duties here have given him a taste for things spiritual.
Whiskey?
Gin, I believe. But what am I to say your purpose is? Do I tell him who you are?
Inform him that Mr. Podmore and Dr. Gurney from the Society for Psychical Research have come to investigate the legend of the Black Folder and wish to examine his grave. That should give us sufficient cover, I think.
Have a care, gentlemen. The stair is steep, and the treads are worn away.
The place smells vilely.
The dead don't smell sweet. There are 9 centuries of them in this place. But you gentlemen must be accustomed to this kind of thing.
Every place seems to have its own aura. I feel that we're in the presence of some mysterious evil.
Coffins of lead, coffins of stone, coffins of wood, all piled up on top of one another, as if they were so much lumber.
Who can tell what strange causes and effects there may be beyond the veil? Kindly be our guide to this place, Mr. Palfreyman. Who is buried here?
Oh, I only wish I could tell you, Mr. Podmore. I know the recent ones, of course, those from the 16th century onwards. They're all the wooden coffins stacked over there. The last Lord Calder, Lady Beatrice's husband, is the one on top.
And the coffins of stone?
Oh, some of them are said to go back before the Conquest. But they contain nothing more than dust. Dust and a few scraps of bone.
Quite. And the lead coffins here?
Oh, they're mostly from medieval times.
And what can you tell me about the coffin there? The one that stands beside the stair?
Oh, my God. May the Lord save us.
What's the matter, man?
Well, it's never stood there before. Well, I stake my life on it. But it can't have moved itself. What is happening in this place?
That is precisely what Dr. Gurney and I are here to investigate. Now, Mr. Palfreyman, it would be as well, I think, if you were to leave us.
Oh, if that's what you wish, sir.
The test that we have to carry out will only be hampered by the presence of anyone not accustomed to our methods.
But you will close the vault when you leave?
Rest assured, Mr. Palfreyman.
And I'll leave you to it, gentlemen.
Thank you for all your help, Mr. Palfreyman.
A pleasure, gentlemen. A pleasure.
Just make certain that he's really going away, Watson. There's a good fellow.
Yes. He's walking off quite briskly. Probably wants to get back to the bottle of gin we gave him.
Now then, it's time to lay the ghosts of Shoscombe Chapel. Let's take a closer look at the coffin by the stairs.
Seemed to give Mr. Palfreyman quite a fright.
Yes, it should have done. Look closely, Watson, at the edges of the coffin lid. Someone's cut along the whole line of it. It's only secured by these 2 clamps. That should be an easy matter to open it up. You have the jimmy?
In my pocket. Here.
Yes, now then. Excellent. Now, help me up with the lid. Good Lord.